Hi, I'm Josh Fielster with Native Instruments, here at NAMM 2009, showing off Maschine.
What's up? You got your boy Dyreck, aka Native Shades, reminding you to like and subscribe, because today we're going to be talking about Maschine, the MPC killer! No one else is illa. We're going to be talking about Native Instruments Maschine. What had happened was... So Native Instruments dropped Maschine around 2009. Now you gotta understand, there was a lot going on around this time. You know, the MPC 5000 just dropped. You know, people were still on the MV. And Native Instruments dropped Maschine. And let me tell you something. When they dropped Maschine, the music production industry changed. They shut down the music production industry. So Maschine was kind of like a hardware-software combination. You had a hardware controller that was controlling a software application, and they worked flawlessly together and instantaneously, like nothing was, there was no latency, none of that. Everything was instant, real time, right now. I'm telling you, when Maschine came out, it changed the game. And it was so addictive. Once you start messing around with Maschine and you go back to like an MPC, you're like, oh, so we doing this thing again. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want to go back. You know what I'm saying? You do not want to go back. They used to have a saying, once you go Maschine, you do not go back. Velocity sensitive pad. A dual browser screen, probably the best browser ever created in music productions. For some reason, Maschine got it right. You know what I'm saying? You had functions, the volume, the tempo, the swing right on the controller itself. You had a sequencer, you had a step sequencer. It was a fantastic unit. Maschine was a little bit different than an MPC. Okay, there was some similarities, but Maschine, they kind of did their thing a little bit different. They had 8 groups, which is kind of like tracks. You know, each group has 16 sounds. You know, like you got 16 pads, you can load up 16 pads. But also in the groups, there are 4 banks in each groups. So each group has 4 banks. And in the 4 banks, each of the banks have 16 patterns. So you know what that accumulates to? Massive amounts of enjoyment with music production. That's basically what Maschine was. It was, you can do basically everything on this unit, and it was so intuitive. Everything was instantaneous. If you wanted to sample something, all you do is just push the sample button and you're good to go. You can sample and then start manipulating your sample immediately. On an MPC, you would have to go to record, sample something, then name your sample, then assign it to a pad. No, on Maschine, everything was instantaneous. This was the magic of this unit. When you learn to navigate on this unit, which is quick, man, there's no looking back. And you didn't have to know a lot. You didn't have to know a lot about music theory and production to get into creating on Maschine. It was so intuitive that you could just be a person that's just getting into music and you'll be doing something dope on the unit. It was the MPC killer. They was right. It was the MPC killer. Maschine destroyed the MPC, period. Okay, the MPC took an L after Maschine, and they did not recover until the MPC put out like the MPC Touch, and then, you know, the MPC X and Live and everything like that. When they put those units out, that's when they started recovering from the whooping Maschine put on Akai. I'm telling you, when Maschine first came out, you had MPC guys, I mean, that have been using MPC for years. That was like, oh man, there's no way Maschine could mess with my MPC, man. Nah, my MPC is dope. It's better than Maschine. They would go ranting. The most loyalist MPC dude, you know that dude? That dude would be ranting about Maschine. Man, let me tell you something. That dude goes over his cousin's house. His cousin got Maschine lying around. That dude's talking all this junk. Yo, man, Maschine, you know, that ain't nothing compared to my MPC, man. My MPC 2000 XL, that'll destroy Maschine. Cousin will be like, okay, you know, just try it out for a couple minutes, 5 minutes or something. Let me tell you something. That dude will try out Maschine. That dude will leave the cousin's house with 6 Native Instruments sample packs and also an honorary membership to the Native Instruments Research Focus Group. He will now be the president of that organization. That MPC guy, yeah, he converted. Let me tell you something. Maschine was taking MPC customers away from Akai daily. Do you know how many sound designers Maschine made? Maschine made sound designers out of thousands of people. You know, I remember, you know, they used to have a saying, hey, it's not the gear, it's the person behind the gear. No. When it came to Maschine, it was the gear. It was the gear that made the person. Maschine, it was like 85% the reason why you're so nice. You know what I mean? Little things, man. Things like creating drum kits. Do you know how annoying it is to create a drum kit sometimes? How tedious it is to create a drum kit? You know, you gotta pitch this, filter that, you know what I mean? Edit this, edit that. You just don't feel like doing it. Maschine makes creating drum kits such an enjoyable experience that you'll create like 50 drum kits in a day. You'll just keep going. Just keep creating a kit. If a guy's on an MPC and that guy's almost done with one drum kit, you're already on your 20th on Maschine and you're going. You know what I'm saying? And the guy will be like, man, hey, how come you just keep kicking out drum kits after drum kit? And you be like, listen, because I'm on Maschine, MPC guy. That's why. You know what I'm saying? Maschine was an incredible unit. Maschine was one of the first instruments that made it where you did not have to press stop. You could just keep going, and you didn't have to press stop. Your sequence of playing, then you're loading, you're adding things up, you're playing this pattern, switching this pattern, demoing and auditioning this sound and this without pressing stop. You know, people feel like there's people out there that said Maschine is the greatest piece of gear they have ever owned. Okay, it also put money in their pockets. You know what I mean? And the sounds were amazing. They would hire the right people, creating incredible sound packs that, I mean, the music sounds incredible. It was the MPC killer. And the only thing that the MPC Akai was holding on to was their sound. That's the only thing. Every time Maschine and them was warring out, Native Instruments had the super workflow. And the Akai dudes, the MPC guys would just mention, yo, well, it don't sound like the 3000. It don't sound like the 2000 XL. The war was real. No holds barred in those forums back in them days. When Maschine came out, it was around $600. All worth it. I know they brought the price down to, I think about 500, 400, and it made more people buy it. You know what I mean? As far as negative, the only negative thing I ever heard about Maschine was that at the time they didn't have time stretch, but I think they updated it. And that was about it, man. That was the only thing I heard, but I think they updated that. So yeah, that's Maschine. What had happened was... So this is your boy, Dyreck, aka Native Shades, reminding you to go down low in the description and get that MPC1 hidden strategies where I teach you some of the dopest, illest hidden strategies of the MPC1. And you get that 4K sound library with it, man. Gotta throw that in, you know what I mean? So this is your boy, Dyreck, reminding you to like and subscribe. And I'm signing off.